Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Mixed Media Mayhem, where we're supposed to be using a stencil, some distress, and some paste. It's also Series 20 of 30 Days of Sketches. This is the sketch from Lisa Flanagan at Bangs and Glasses. It is also Iron Crafter Challenge, which we are supposed to be using wood veneer. The Iron Crafter Challenge happens once a month, and it is a product-based challenge where you are to use a specific product. So I'll be using the wood veneer today, and 30 Days of Sketches has been going on all month long. Mixed Media Mayhem happens every Friday, and I am playing along when I can and where I can. So the idea is to use some mixed media. I've got two photos here that are slightly smaller than a 3x4. I am using some papers from a Cocoa Daisy kit that I have. I talked more about this kit in yesterday's video for the Paw Hop. In case you missed that, you can go and find out more about the kit there. And I'm just trying to use up what I can of it. So it does come with some 6x8 papers. That's what I'm matting my photos with. I really liked this paper with all of the writing on it and the florals. And you might be asking where my inspiration or what part of the sketch I am using. In the sketch, there was a heart in the center with a smaller heart where the photo was, and so my photos are going to be smack dab in the middle. The sketch also had some floral embellishments in the corners. So I am using some floral embellishments in my corners. I think the sketch had I think it actually had 4 corners, but one of them had very little in it. So I'm just doing the 2 opposing corners, and then this banner does end up going across the top from the left to the right. So there is a little bit up there, but for a sketch, I just tend to use the sketch as inspiration and go from there. I kind of take a glance at it and just go. There are a few sketches that I will follow a little bit more exact, but for the most part, at this stage in my scrapbooking, I just use them for the inspiration, and so that's what I did here. It's a really cute sketch, but I kind of just glanced at it a couple of times while I was deciding what photos I wanted to use and pulling some stuff, and then I just kind of went from there. And sometimes I veer completely off and it doesn't even look like the sketch. But anyway, I decided to pull out some rub-ons, which were not part of our Mixed Media Mayhem today. We were supposed to be using, again, a stencil, some distress, and some paste. So I will be pulling out a stencil in a bit, and I'll be using some transparent matte texture paste from Ranger, and I will be using some distress oxide ink also from Ranger, Tim Holtz and Ranger. So I am using these rub-ons. These are from the 49 and Market Spectrum Sherbet collection. I have quite a few still left in my stash, as you can see in that big pile that I've got on the left hand side. So I thought I would go ahead and use them on my background here, because the florals that I have on from the paper they're pretty muted to begin with, and they're pretty small. So I kind of wanted to bridge the gap into the photos and build them out just a bit more. And I wanted to brighten them up just a bit. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm feeling like these are going to brighten it up just a bit. And I really like the way that they end up looking. Now I am also going to be putting my texture paste right over those rub-ons, but because it's transparent, it's not going to matter. You're going to be able to see the rub-ons just fine, and the florals. I am also going to fussy cut. So what happened here is I tore my paper intentionally, because I knew I wanted the bottom to have a white strip, and that's pretty much all I was going to do with the rub-ons, was this bottom left-hand corner. But then I decided to do the upper right-hand corner, but I didn't want to tear another strip. So what I did was I took the second piece of paper from my Cocoa Daisy kit, and I fussy cut out the florals for that upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to place them right over the florals that are already there. I could have just probably cut out the ones that were there, but it would be a lot of little bits and pieces that were kind of poking into the flowers, and then I'd have to glue them down, and I didn't want to really see the white paper underneath. So I decided just to go ahead and fussy cut out the second piece of paper. It's not like I'm in a paper shortage, so I think it's going to be all good. Now I did span the paper from the white paper to the pattern paper with my rub-ons, so I had to make sure those were aligned perfectly. So you can see my magnet on the top of my paper above my photos there, holding the pattern paper on top of the white paper. And now I'm just taking my craft blade or utility knife, whatever you happen to have there, and I'm just scoring it along where the rub-ons meet the pattern paper from the white paper so that I can lift the white paper, because I wasn't really sure how I was going to be doing my stencil work. I didn't know if I wanted it just on the white, if I wanted it on top of the pattern paper, or what. I end up going ahead and putting it on top of the pattern paper as well, but I wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing at this point, so I thought, well, I'm going to make it so that I can remove that top piece of paper and use my stencil and not get stencil paste or texture paste all over my pattern paper, just in case. I actually had thought I would use the stencil across the entire bottom of my layout aside from the fussy cut florals, but I end up just doing it from in the corner, peeking out from the florals, and then in the upper right hand corner peeking out from those florals as well. So you can see here I'm just going to go ahead and keep placing my rub-ons, and the nice thing about the rub-ons are that some are transparent or translucent and some are a little bit more opaque, so they go really well over the top of the pattern paper and they look like they fit right in. I didn't have any problem with that. I kind of tried to choose the ones that best matched the florals that I had in the corner, and I intentionally chose leaves rather than flowers because there are different kinds of flowers and I didn't want them to kind of be competing with each other. So I just went with leaves, trying to build in more of the same colors that were already used in all of the clusters that I've got going on so far, and scattering them about. The nice thing about the rub-ons is you can use them on top of each other, so if they overlap, it's okay. Which works really well because I didn't want it to look like, oh, I've got a pink one on the right hand side, a yellow in the middle, and a green at the top. I wanted to kind of intermix them so that, you know, when you look at leaves and flowers in nature, they are all kind of overlapping one another. So that's kind of the goal I was going for. And I kind of was a little bit hesitant about adding the teal or turquoise ones, but there is a large turquoise flower in that bottom cluster and then a little bit in the upper cluster, so I decided to go ahead and do it and see what happened. And I like the way that it came out. I like the added color and the added depth that it gives. The papers that I'm using here, it kind of is all one saturation level basically. I guess it's you know, there's not a lot of highs and lows and a lot of depths of color, so I wanted to kind of build that in. And the blue definitely helped with that because they feel a little bit more bold than some of the other colors do. And especially if I chose the ones that have a black outline around them. So some of the green and some of the blue actually do have a black outline, which does make them read a little bit darker. And so I'm liking how that's coming together, and it's feeling really organic and pretty to me. And that's kind of the goal. I do really like to add a lot of organic things on my layouts, especially if I've got a lot of square things going on. Unless I'm doing a grid, then maybe I don't have as many organic things because a grid, there's a lot of squares. But I do try to soften it up as well. Now, as far as the wood veneer goes, I will be using that for Iron Crafter, and that is a challenge that is hosted by Tara over at the Paper Snob, and there's links down below for everything. I'm a little late in joining the hop. It should have been live earlier this morning, but time got away from me and I had some other commitments I had to, you know, I had to follow through on. So basically it's getting put up a little bit late actually for Mixed Media Mayhem as well. Usually it goes live a lot earlier than this, but that's okay. You know, we're doing what we can and playing along where I can. So here's the texture paste, and I am just slathering it on there. I really like the Ranger texture paste because it's a little thicker and it doesn't tend to puddle as much underneath the stencil. I mean, it's still possible to get that double impression if you mush it really through there, but it's a lot harder to do than with some of the other texture pastes. Now I am pulling in my Distress Oxide, which was one of the Mixed Media Mayhem requirements. I'm using Uncharted Mariner and just going around the outside of my layout with it, as well as some splatters at the end. So keeping that really simple, and I chose that color because the blue was not really prevalent on the layout. There is one blue strip of text that's highlighted besides the blues that I added and that one blue flower at the bottom, but I wanted to kind of play off of that a little bit, and so I am just adding that, and I feel like it's gonna go really well with this layout. I did pop all of my floral clusters up onto foam tape to give a little added dimension, and I really like how that looks. It was looking a little flat to me without having that dimension. And I'm also going to be adding some wood veneer, like I said, and you can see there's a text wood veneer sitting there on my desk. That one's going to be added, as well as a Winnie the Pooh and Piglet wood veneer, and they are from the same set over at Some Assemblage Required, so I will link those up down below in case you're interested in those. The wood veneer piece is super cute. The Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, they're like holding hands and you just see the back of them walking, which is great because it's really just a play on the photos that I have of the little guy that I take care of and his middle sister. We picked her up from school one day and they are walking and they've got their arms around each other and they look like they're just best friends, and it was kind of just a moment in time type of a photo where you don't see them do that very often, but they were being extra cute that day and extra lovey-dovey towards each other. And so I thought I wanted to just really capture that moment on my layout, because when they look at it when they're older, I want them to remember, you know, they had these little moments. They do love each other, of course, but usually there's more of a roughhousing laughter play type of a situation going on, rather than the quiet moment of just holding each other around the waist and around the arm. And he's actually holding her hand, her arms around his neck, and he's holding her hand with the same arm, and then his other arms around her waist, which is super cute. Just a sweet moment. And there is a piece that I put on here that does say it's this is so sweet, that pink piece that I'm about to put on there, which I inked up as well with some Distress Oxide ink. Yeah. And then I'm going to add a couple of labels down here, just so I can write the date in. I don't have a ton of journaling for this. It's just a sweet moment, and I think the label and the chipboard piece there says it all. And I am almost done with this layout, you guys. I just have the splatter and peeling the back off of the wood veneer. Now, MK's wood veneer does come with a masking over the top of it. I have already removed that before the video, and it just protects the wood veneer from scorching when she is cutting it or engraving it. And then it does come adhesive backed as well, so you just peel the backer off and stick it down and you're good to go. I did add some of the foam, or the puffy, not foam, they're puffy hearts to the layout just before I did the splattering here, and then I am going to call it done. So I want to remind you to check out everybody who's playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem. The playlist is down below for that. There's also the playlist for the Iron Crafter Challenge, as well as 30 days of sketches. So you're going to get a whole bunch of inspiration using wood veneer, and then a whole bunch of inspiration using mixed media, and a whole bunch of inspiration using the sketch for today. That is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those down below. I will get back to you as quickly as I can. I really do appreciate you spending time with me today, so thank you for that. I'll be back again real soon with another video, so you know, don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this one. Thanks again for spending time with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. I'll see you guys again real soon with another video. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.